All right, so now we're going to review the Tronics control panel. As you can see, we're in an off state. That's because I hit the e-stop button. So what I'm going to do to get this started is I'm going to just twist that button to release the e-stop. You can see nothing lit up just yet. So right here, I've got a green button, which is my power on button. So I'm going to click the green button, and now you see that we've got some red lights illuminated. This section right here controls your main conveyor speed and whether you want to turn it on or off, as well as your wrap conveyor speed and your spacer speed. If I want to turn all of those things on as I'm ready to run, I just need to make sure those red lights turn from red to green. So if I click on product conveyor, you see the green light comes on, and now my main conveyor is on. If I click on the wrap conveyor, green light turns on. Now my wrap belt is turned on. And then again with the spacer, click it, green light turns on, and my spacer is running. So I control each component individually, and I need to make sure that I do that prior to actually running jars down the system. And so I'm going to turn off the main conveyor just for noise reasons. But I can go toggle that off pretty quickly. Over here is my control panel for the labeler itself. So here I've got label head. I've only got one label head. So I'm gonna click the label head button. You can see it went from green. Now if I flag this photo eye, a label will dispense. Super important with your application is we always want the printer on anytime we're feeding a label. If we don't, many of you already know, you're going to jam up the system and have to re-web or make adjustments on the labeler itself. So once I turn the printer on, now I'm confident that anytime I, again, trip the photo eye or hit the feed button, label will dispense and one label will feed at the same time. Top left-hand corner, we have what's referred to as the label position. This is a distance in millimeters. This is the distance from my photo eye to the peel plate. So this has to do with when the label is applied to your actual product. This is a set it and forget it setting, which is true for most of these. So I would always keep track of what settings you got, when you received the machine, and when it was in a working state, so you can always go back if anybody makes any changes. Label flag has to do with when and how much of a label is dispensed. Again, this is a setting in millimeters. So what I'm telling my applicator to do is to just keep dispensing the label 134 millimeters after the gap is seen with the web sensor I pointed out in the previous video. So if, for example, I'm constantly getting half a label sticking out from the peel plate, that means that this value is likely too high. I want to decrease it so that only one full label dispenses from the peel plate or the applicator each time. Again, a distance in millimeters. Label pitch over here, you should always have at 0. This is used when I want to dispense multiple labels off of one trigger, like if I wanted to apply 2 labels to one bottle. That's not the case with you guys. You guys apply 1 label per product. Over here we have a counter. We can always reset the counter by just hitting the reset button. Right here we've got a feed button. So if I click this button, it's going to dispense 1 label and print 1 label, assuming I have the printer on. And so if we focus our attention onto the peel plate, I hit the feed button, you'll see that 1 label got dispensed, 1 label got printed. Sometimes I'll do this when I'm setting up to either get rid of any bad printed labels or any blank labels, and to make sure that everything is tracking properly within the label applicator. The jog function allows you to let's call it inch forward the liner and the label applicator within the system. So again, if we kind of focus our attention to the peel plate and this brake arm, and I press and hold the jog button, you're going to see that I'm creating tension and moving the liner as much as I want to. Another key aspect is how fast we dispense the label onto our product. If I press and hold the label head button, you're going to see that I have a value right here. This is a percentage. So my label right now is being dispensed at 105% of what my belt speed is. And that belt speed is in meters per minute. Again, set it, forget it. Don't change it. Don't play around with it. It should remain the same regardless of what you're running, but you do have the option to change that. And then if I go and I click on label head, it'll take me right back to where I was. The other function I have on here is a force print. And so what this allows me to do if I click it is print a label from the Zebra without actually dispensing it from the Tronics. So for example, if I flag the photo eye 2 times in a row too fast for the labeler to respond, and we'll demonstrate that real quick. So there's 1, there's 2 triggers. We go dispense, dispense. You can see now I've got tension here. If I print or if I feed out 1 more label, there's a good chance I'm going to jam up this system. So I want to relieve some of the tension here, but I don't want to release another label. So if I hit the force print button, I've now got 1 label that was fed from the Zebra, and I've put my brake arm back to where I want it to be.